And that's the famous race commentator. Enough of my awful babbling. Good luck, everybody, for Orion Park V8 Series Odyssey of Race Department, broadcast to you live on PSR TV. And first one in the gravel gets to bathe in Harry Pond. So, De Grief and Johnson, everyone has actually pretty much kept their positions the same. So maybe they just added time penalties. The lights are on. Gregory on the right, Johnson on the left. We are racing Park. And De Grief's got away much better than Johnson there. And De Grief is going to take it right down into turn one. Johnson is second. Free breast behind with Crooks, Lennon and Simeon. Gary Lennon off to a fantastic start and takes third position away from Callan. And someone is way off into the gravel down there, and that is all kinds of problems. Where is De Grief gone? Gregory De Grief has disappeared. Ben Crooks is now leaving. There is carnage down into turn one. I knew that this would happen, and Gregory De Grief is in the gravel. Our equal championship leader is off. James Johnson has dropped to 20th position, but Gregory De Grief, a damaged car, 21st position in the gravel, and that is going to absolutely wedge a hammer through his championship chances if he doesn't get out of that gravel and start making up time now. Can he do it? Ben Crooks currently leads from Mike Simeon. Ryan Callan third, Pretendike 4, Gary Lennon is 5, Carasola, Clark, Simmons, Higgins, Shaw, Dan Higgins up to 9th from about 17th position on the grid. And Gregory De Grief is running again, but he's 41 seconds off the pace with a car that looks like it's just been mauled. Sylvian Mearlord is in the gravel as well, although we kind of expected that one. And Michael Hart-Jones is spinning as well, doing his usual. But one lap down, Ben Crooks leads from Mike Simeon second. Ryan Callan is third, just holding up Ben Pretendike in 4. And Pretendike there looking rather racy on Ryan Callan, and is sizing him up to third position as they go underneath the Yokohama Bridge. Shout out to Mark A. Wilmington, you did make lap 1, my friend. Congratulations. But Ben Pretendike, 4th position, all over the back of Ryan Callan for 3rd. Simeon is keeping a watching brief on Ben Crooks, and that'll be a battle for later on. But Pretendike there straight away looking like he wants to pass Ryan Callan for the final podium slot, and these lot are going to try and run away as best as they can. Gary Lennon got a stunning start off the line, jumped into 3rd position, and then he lost it down into turn 2 while trying to avoid, I think, James Johnson, who'd gone off the track. Carasola is now up to 6, Clark is 7, Simmons 8, Higgins 9, Short 10, Warmington 11, Vinari is 12, Bulgin 13. James Johnson is already up to 14th position, and he had dropped to second last, so he has already overtaken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers in 1.5 laps. Stunning driving there by James Johnson, as Tony Taubate has just gone off the track somewhere. Or has he? No, sorry, it's lag on my part. But let's jump up to the front. Ben Crooks currently leads from Mike Simeon in second. There's Ryan Callan in third position, and he's still got Ben Pretendike all over the back of him for 4th, and that one's going to be an interesting one, I fear. Gary Lennon is 5, Carasola 6, Clark 7, Simmons 8. Dan Higgins has got Adam Shaw all over him for 9 and 10. And Adam Shaw, they're trying to move up the inside. This is for P9 and P10, but Higgins just about defends there. But Adam Shaw has got much more grip coming out of the corners and seems to just fly back onto him. Dan Higgins there completely all over the curbs on a flip-flop. And that's going to allow Shaw right up onto the rear of him. And Shaw taking a look through on the final corner. Brave man if he could do it there. And he's straight through into 9th position, side by side across the start-finish line. Adam Shaw covers the line, takes the position before turn 1. Excellent opportunistic move there by Adam Shaw, who takes 9th position away from Dan Higgins, and that's the highest I think I've seen them two all race, as Ben Crooks leads from Simeon, Callan, Pretendike, Lennon, Carasola, Clark, Simmons, Shaw, Higgins, Warmington, who has got Yari Vinari all over him. Martin Bulgin has got James Johnson closing him down. Taubate is 15, Tranter 16, Lee Ross is 17, and Blashchuk is 18, Hart Jones 19, De Grief is 20th and has already passed Sylvian Mearlord. So all kinds of things there. Battle for 16th and 15th position. Lee Ross and Rich Tranter side by side over the Yokohama Bridge. That's for 15 and 16, and Lee Ross has just overtaken Rich Tranter there, and Tranter they're doing all kinds of off-road shenanigans, which is not good at all. So that's that battle sorted out for the time being. Adam Shaw has just grazed the wall in 9th position. James Johnson has already overtaken Martin Bolgen as well for 13th and 14th position. So James Johnson there doing some stunning driving. It's just that he's overtaking cars left, right and centre, and we can't keep up with him. So lap 4 already of 39. This lap is a short one, no matter how tricky it is, and it won't be very long before they catch Sylvian Meerlord to lap him, because he took a skinny dip in the gravel. Gregory de Grief is now into 19th. He's passed Michael Hart-Jones. A few more drives like that and he'll be back up into the points and desperately trying to salvage something of what was an absolutely nightmarish turn 1, where Gregory de Grief, our pole sitter, got a cracking start and then threw it into the gravel. Had a skinny zip around. James Johnson has just taken Jari Vinari for 12 and 13 while I was talking about that. And James Johnson, who is next, got Mark A. Wilmington, who's got Dan Higgins and Adam Shaw all over him. Let's join this. This is the battle for 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. It's the best battle on track by far. Dan Higgins is holding up Adam Shaw. Shaw's made a mistake and Higgins has got back past again. Mark A. Wilmington is more together than the pair of them and is just keeping a watching brief in 11. James Johnson has just passed Jari Vinari for 12 and 13, and Johnson is by far the fastest of the lot. So here we are. There's James Johnson, and I've seen him size up many a driver already today. And Mark A. Wilmington there just giving Adam Shaw a little bit of a love nudge, and that has completely left him open for James Johnson to take an opportunistic move through. Mark A. Wilmington there going wide, obviously knowing the game was up there. James Johnson dives through into 11th position. Next on his list then is Adam Shaw, who is currently running 10, and Shaw there practically mounting the curve. That's not the best way to go about it, and Johnson's got a much more together car. Shaw, they're all wobbling around like some kind of large ladies' wobbly bits, I suppose. And a little bit of tapping there by James Johnson, and that's completely left him with his back foot. Mark A. Wilmington dives through. Jari Vinari fancies a little bit of it as well. Johnson trying to come back through, and that is going to be trouble if they try and go side by side into turn 1. Is he going to be brave? Yes, he is. He dives past Wilmington. That's a class move. A little bit of rear end action there from Johnson on Shaw, and Jari Vinari there pushing Mark A. Wilmington to the side. Vinari and Wilmington side by side underneath the Yokohama Bridge. Now diving for drift shaft. Turn 3. Wilmington and Vinari 12 and 13 side by side. Bashing there. They want marking their territory. They might as well cock their leg and just spray all over each other. But Vinari's got it as they come back over the bridge that they were under side by side. Vinari just about has it. And look at Taubite. Taubite's going to try and have a go through as well. Four-wheel drift there from Taubite, who's obviously trying to take advantage of what's going on. But Vinari's just past Wilmington. Taubite fancies a lot of them, and that is that for the time being. James Johnson, though, released up onto Michael Hart-Jones, has just disconnected, I think, from the race. It didn't look like he crashed. It looked like a pure disconnection. So that's our first retirement there, Michael Hart-Jones. He was out from 20th out of the 21, so he was not running fast. So improvement there for Michael Hart-Jones. James Johnson now. Let's see who he's sizing up. He's currently P11, and that is him looking already, taking a little piggy eye down on Adam Shaw, pulling out right hand side. Shaw there running wide, obviously thinking he's going to go for it anyway because he's done it before. Alongside on the Yokohama Bridge, Johnson has the inside line, but Shaw's not giving up. Side by side, love nudges all round, and Johnson defending Shaw, so Shaw can't do any switcheroos whatsoever, and Johnson takes 10th position. Next up is Dan Higgins, and look at how Johnson there just kind of takes the curb on the corner. Higgins there staying quite clear of the curbs. Then we're on through the flip-flop into the final sector. Johnson there getting caught out by Higgins' braking because they're so different, I suppose. And Johnson straight alongside, much more power on the exit, pulls through into 9th position down a straight, pulls straight across there. That was a little bit naughty because that was dragging across Higgins. Higgins trying to go around the outside, and Higgins goes off, and that is straight into the barrier. Bye-bye bumper for Dan Higgins, and he'll do well to get himself out of that gravel trap. Dan Higgins retires with suspension failure on lap 8. A valiant effort by Dan Higgins, but there was no way that he could try and get round the outside of that one. Dan Higgins out of the race, lap 8. James Johnson now down to 11th. He went off as well, and Jari Vinari and Adam Shaw have both gone through. Talvite has just passed Mark A. Warmington for 13. It is all go in the midfield. But let's just recap very quickly. Let me just check that they're not all just about to pounce on each other and play switch position. James Johnson straight onto the back of Jari Vinari. Let's stick with this actually. 10th position Vinari, 11th position James Johnson. The fear of it becoming a James Johnson broadcast. James Johnson, they're going through, and Ryan Callan is off the track. Ryan Callan, 6th position, has gone off the track. Running in 3rd position, he gets 2 wheels on the grass coming out of turn 1, and from there he's kind of managed to keep it vaguely out of the gravel, but he's dropped down to 6th position, and that is a disaster for Ryan Callan, who had 3rd place on the podium. He had a half a second to a second gap over Ben Buitendijk, who now takes 3rd position. So classic driving there by Buitendijk, who just kept mounting the pressure, and obviously Callan's gone. So Ben Buitendijk suddenly finds himself in 3rd, and he is reeling in now Mike Simeon for 2nd. So this could be heating up for a battle for 1st, 2nd and 3rd, who are all on the same main straight. And Ben Buitendijk was the fastest man lap time around by 0.2 of a second. Ben Crooks was eaten into by a 10th from Sim, so they're all pushed each other together. So in a couple of laps, that's going to be a cracker. Gary Lennon in 4th position has just been on the grass coming out of turn 1. Obviously, as these cars change their dynamics when the fuel goes down and the tyres get worn, Lennon there feeling the problems and the pressure. Let's hope he doesn't end up in the pond. Hannu Carasola running well in 5th. Callan is now down to 6th. Kevin Clark, once again, a quiet but effective race, is running 7th. He's still got Ivo Simmons for very much pleasant company in 8th position currently at the moment. Adam Shaw is currently running 9 with James Johnson 10. Jari Vinari has been passed by Johnson and is now down to 11, and has Tony Talvite all over the back of him for 12. Lee Ross is now into 13. Martin Bolgin, is now into 14. Warmington has dropped to 15, so there must have been some kind of mistake there because he's lost about 15 seconds. Gregory de Grief now into 16th position. Sans front bumper, but still pulling out what is looking like a rather fantastic recovery drive as we enter lap 11. Rich Tranter is the last unlapped driver in 17th position. 18th is Sylvian Mirlod. 20th is Piacek Blazchuk, with just Dan Higgins and Michael Hart-Jones as our 2 retirements so far on this race. This lap around, Ben Crooks has opened up the gap by 0.4 of a second from Mike Simeon, who has lost a chunk of time at the 0.8 of a second lap on Buitendijk. And let's take a quick nose at this, just because it's looking like it's going to heat up anytime soon. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd, and Buitendijk, fastest man currently on track. James Johnson is also attacking Adam Shaw. I'll keep an eye on that as well. In fact, let's switch actually to 9th and 10th position, as this is James Johnson and Adam Shaw, and Shaw cutting off James Johnson coming out of the Yokohama Bridge, and four-wheel drift there, Adam Shaw. James Johnson has been doing some fantastic overtaking moves, but Adam Shaw is proving, well, he's stuck his teeth in and says, no, you're not going through. Just behind them, Vinari and Talvite are doing a side-by-side too. All action going off here in the V8 series of race department here at Oran Park. And Johnson there straight onto the inside line. He's done the switchback, gone for the outside on the way in, come in so that he's good on the way out. Straight into the slipstream. He'll do well to try and scare off Adam Shaw into turn 1. What will Shaw do? Shaw keeps the line. Johnson don't fancy it this time around, but fancies a look into turn 2. Ooh!